All right, there we go. And we're live. Lunch break on the Kessel Run. Anybody who's following me knows that I am en route on a little bit of a vacay, heading southbound to beautiful and sunny, hopefully, Tennessee. Go visit some family, go see my nephews. I don't know nobody's watching right now. Anyway, all right. So good stuff. Driving around southbound. As you know, studio is in a demolished state. We'll be rebuilding that. Looking forward to when that's all done. Actually, when I get home from this trip, should be seeing that happen. The new content and all that should be coming out on there. It's exciting. Well, I've had a very interesting trip. Really uneventful, but just interesting. So anybody's following along on social media land, checking out Clubhouse and new social media platform. Definitely was a little skeptical at first, mostly because there's not a really great like how to. Um, but what I have found is that it does have the ability to basically it feels like keynote at a conference or a panel discussion at a conference. And people can kind of come and go, drop in. You can get up on stage. You can be like given the mic. It's very interesting. It's a nice little platform. Some weird stuff like all social media. There's always weird stuff that's going on. You got characters, but right now it seems to be very curated because the only people who can access it are people who invite you. So, and there seems to be some kind of strength around if people that you invite do something bad, your account might be in jeopardy. So, right now it seems like it's pretty well controlled and managed. We'll see how it does when it grows. Anyway, so interesting discussions. Started a room yesterday, just kind of like started chit chatting with people. People kind of jumped on. We talked about security, talked about issues. There's some really good like self-help groups kind of on there that just kind of like people just genuinely just kind of talking about their problems and other people that are listening and talking about how they got through it. I swear during this day and age right now, there's not enough of that going on. Everyone being disconnected. So I think it's pretty cool. I am probably going to talk to myself for the next, 4 hours on this if I have to. But if you're in there, say what's up. I think I can see my private chats on here. I don't think I can. Never mind. Uh oh. What did I do? Cancel. Great. Now I have to get out of that page. Awesome. No idea what I just did. What button did I just hit? Okay. That's a stupid interface. Restream to make that happen on mobile. Anyway, so interesting platform Clubhouse is. Andy Ellis, I butcher his name. It was Andy. He was CSO for Akamai. He was hosting a really interesting kind of chat, just kind of Q&A, people kind of jumping in, some security experts. That was pretty cool to check out and be part of. Saw a couple people I knew, Sunil, Fernando, Gael, some really good questions for people that just genuinely wanted to know what to do around security. Dropped in on another one later on, different channel that, just, I don't know if it's the right, I don't know. You can definitely tell a level of expertise in folks in cyber obviously based on what they say, but I think some places need a little bit of work and some room for improvement. But hey, everybody's got that, so it's good. At least people are trying to get out there and trying to do the right thing and help people, so that's good. I am staring at a lot of open, empty space, the Virginia, West Virginia countryside, which is beautiful. I miss it from the days of living down here, but anyway, very open. Not anything like Massachusetts. So let's see something new. All right, what did I do? Jeez. All right, cool. So those are streaming. That's working. That's working. Good. So let's talk about security. Why not? Really good discussion yesterday with somebody actually off that Clubhouse app, talking about training and the depths of training. And obviously, everyone's got their opinion on compliance-based training, and I do. And my opinion is that it doesn't really work at all. There shouldn't even be another verb in there. Like, it just doesn't work. You cannot expect people one day after, let alone within 1 year after, sitting through one set of presentations, that training is going to have any impact on their behavior or their, they're not going to change their ways on what they're doing. It just doesn't work. You change behavior by reinforcing behavior, and you have to do it consistently. And if you don't, then you're just pretty much just wasting your money on training, which is silly because it's a much needed thing. So the idea was, like, how do you take a training program and go from good to great, or zero to pseudo hero? I think it starts with your baseline training across all users that is accepted and really connected with HR and their current training capabilities that they have. Because why go reinvent the wheel? I feel like cybersecurity professionals are always trying to create the thing themselves, as if no one else had ever done. Like, why not just go latch on to already existing programs and vehicles to deliver any of this stuff, right? Go work with HR. If you're thinking about implementing a security program and training it top of mind, like, the first you shouldn't be sitting there going, how are we going to get this out? Like, you should be going to your HR department or person and saying, look, how are we currently already training employees? And if they're not doing any training or any type of like outreach from an HR department standpoint, and you're at a company larger than a startup, because obviously there's not well-being and training or education, or probably not even looking at retention. So that's probably a hallmark sign of an organization that's not going to grow. But let's say you work for a decent organization that actually has this focus, and so latch onto that. Integrate your training material in there. Get the buy-in from folks that's already bought in on the training that exists. Don't go reinvent the wheel. It's silly. So anyway, I did it again. How did you? Uh-oh. Yeah, this is the dumbest interface of Restream. You literally cannot get out of unless you hit that one button. It's silly. There we go. Yeah, I can't see if anybody's chatting, so sorry, folks. That is one way. I'll be on Clubhouse around 2 o'clock today. So if you're on there, catch me. Anyway, training wise, like just integrate to what already exists. Don't go reinvent the wheel. I think you'll be a lot happier. You'll find out that you don't have a cost to like deploy, your own product or service or whatever it is to actually get the training out to everyone. You're going to see it's going to be a lot easier to be accepted because people are already used to it. That's step one. How do you get it out there? Partner with HR. Step two is actually find viable training that people are going to take that's useful, that you can do in short bites, repetitively, like repeatedly, just continuously. Don't make it super arduous for people to get through training. Hit them with concepts and reinforce it. And then outside of the training platform, reinforce the behavior. So obviously, phishing tests are a great way to negatively reinforce behavior and just piss people off. Don't do that. Use that when you need to see if your training is taking effective, but even still, do it, carefully. We kind of know that phishing is going to work. You'd be better off just spending all of your time actually training people on things. So you've got some baseline foundational training that everyone needs to know. And I think that's where most people kind of do what they need to and then stop and call it a day and a success. What you actually need to do is start making unique training. You need to create training that is going to be applicable to different user groups inside of your organization. Because if you don't, there is just like a big miss for most folks. Oops, I think I the right chat feature. There is a big miss. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do that. Hooray! Find the user groups that are important. Those user groups are groups such as just dumbest interface. Executive admins, right? These people have more power than you know. I just talked to somebody else for an upcoming interview series and video series and book. Spoiler alert. On this, and she outlined the same thing that I do. Actually, funny enough, the same groups. Really target the executive admins, because these people have access to the calendars of people that you consider VIPs in your organization. They need a special level of training. They need training that's unique to them. They need training that is going to be meaningful to them, that on things that only they have access to or insight into or whatever. You're going to train your executive admins different than you're going to train the help desk staff or your system administrators or the people in finance, right? And all these different groups kind of like have different, they're learning differently, they're focused on different things. So you need to train to them. So you train your admins, right? Your exec admins on certain kind of things. They need to be the great watchful eyes of what's going on in the organization. They privy to a lot of things. They're great champions. They're closest to your executives, which means they like the training, and you get them involved and them to embrace new security solutions and show them how easy. Sure that no exec, like just psychology is going to play to your favor on that. It's sad, but it's actually true. Like nobody's going to be like, oh, well, my admin can do it, but I can't. Like I can't figure it out. I should be able to figure this out. I'm an executive. It's going to happen. Oh, I don't act like that. Psychologically, you do. If you're in a position where you have an executive admin, you somewhere have that type of thinking, and you're not going to let your admin understand certain things more than you. Except if you're just totally old school, and you're like, you believe all that kind of work is beneath you, and then I'm waiting for you, your generation, to just kind of get out of the workforce. So So anyway, you got finance, you got HR. You got to train HR differently than you train finance, right? They've got different threats. They've got different things that they're touching. You've got to put a heavy focus on, maintaining and controlling and securing PII with your HR department because they're touching employee records versus company confidential information like finance and, just financial statements and things like that are going to be more in line with what your finance or accounting team's doing. If you're a publicly traded company, same thing. You've got certain people that are privy to things that are not public knowledge until certain selected dates. You have to train those people differently than you do others. The one size fits all approach to training just doesn't work. So you got to get unique. And it's an amazing opportunity to be able to get to know the people in your company. That's always fun, right? Here's a great opportunity and an excuse to get to know leaders inside of your organization that you as a security professional should be doing. You should know by name all your peers and their deputies organization that you're at. You don't. What do you do all day? Get out, make friends. C-suite is about influencing people. So you've got some training there. Then you focus on your really hardcore training folks, right? Like or hardcore like IT technical folks. These people need very specifics, and you need to talk to them the way that they can understand it, and you can't talk even below them. You need to make the information that you're going over like just jive. Like otherwise they're gonna roll their eyes and they're gonna not listen because they're like, oh, I know that, whatever. So you gotta make it impactful, you gotta make it important, make it interactive as much as you possibly can. I don't know what else to say on that. Training, 60-year-old database admins is different than training a 22-year-old help desk employee. But you got to do it, right? Again, think of your audience, right? And do it now. And then now you pick your audience, right? Now it's about consistency. Throughout the year, you should be able to point to a schedule of some sorts where everyone is being trained on something at some point, and you can show the evolution. Like you should have a training calendar, and it should not just have one block on it. Okay. So now you've got a schedule. Okay. From the schedule, you need to now create some level of variety. Okay. You can do, physical based, or virtual training through like a platform or the LMS, whatever it is. Okay. That's great. Get your baseline out there, start doing that. But then start throwing in, if you can, I might be post-COVID, but you can do it via Zoom or Teams or Google Meet or whatever have you. You've got to start getting those groups together and having kind of open, interactive questions and answers, time on these topics. You got to allow people to be trained who are getting trained to ask. Educating anyone is not one way. You have to allow for people to ask questions. People sometimes don't get exactly what you're saying. Oh, go figure. So there's some nuance that needs to, get across. There's depth. So start hosting creative get-togethers. Allow people to ask questions. Keep it short. Keep your presentation short. Allow for a longer Q&A. And then as you establish these, set them on a consistent schedule. Hey, every Tuesday at 2, right? I'm gonna have common office hours, and I'll answer your questions. Make it so that you do it once. You should go into it knowing that you're going to do this multiple times. Create something that is repeatable. That's an easy lift on your end, right? There doesn't need to be fancy PowerPoints. It can just be discussion. And as you learn from your employees the types of things that they're asking, then you can create your content on what to produce next time. And, what you're now creating inside of your user base is amazing power of, Sally came to your presentation that you did. She's done your baseline training. She now made it to Tuesdays at 2. And at there, she hears some good information. It sinks in stuff that's applicable to her in her role, and she maybe asks a question or not, doesn't matter, but she likes it. Great. She maybe gets a trinket, like a little leave behind, give people something so they're like, cool, attach me to the training program. So I'll get into that in a second. Sally goes back to her desk or whatever, and in a conversation with either a manager, or peers, or whoever it is, she starts talking about your Tuesdays at 2, right? It's like, hey, I went to this, like they answered this question about what to do or not to do, right? And it doesn't have to be about outside threats. It can be your training should, include information around, hey, how should we be developing code securely? How should we be creating documents securely? How should we be sharing information with other fellow employees? It's not always about outside threats. Sometimes it's just about internal processes and doing them better. So the question, so Sally goes back to her desk. She starts creating, motion and getting people not interested or excited, but aware of Tuesdays at 2. Okay, so now you're doing this, right? And everybody's just kind of, oh, hey, Tuesdays at 2 is happening. Cool. Maybe I'll go to the next one because I know what it is, right? And it's maybe you got to start once a month, whatever it is. You can spare an hour every week to be able to get in front of your employees. I mean, as a 60 a week, just you got to create some consistency. So miss the first time around, can come back. I missed it. I'm back to the to the other to the next one, and you just want people to start showing up and creating more people who understand what you're talking about, been there, are going to now spread the word for you organically inside the organization because your employees talk like, hey, what did you do after lunch? Oh, I went to I did some work, and then I went to Brian's Tuesday at 2 training. Like, oh, what's that? It's like, oh, you put it on the newsletter. Didn't you see it? No, I didn't. It's like, oh, yeah, I asked a bunch of questions I had on security. You should go next time. But like that conversation is going to happen, right? For a ton of people, and you're just going to see organic growth within the organization. I think of this. You're creating champions, security champions on just training, the training topic. You can do this with anything, honestly. So now you've got baseline training, you've got training, you've got ability to create a schedule for all of that training. You're now interactive training, doing it consistently. Now you're starting to see you've got a pretty good and scalable training program that you could point to. Like any auditor who comes in is gonna be like, well, what do you do about training? You're like, well, let me tell you. Check this out. Boom. Right? They're gonna look at that and be like, oh wow, that's pretty impressive. Like that's a pretty impressive thing. You can show a calendar of all the different types of training, okay, and then you're doing Q&As. This is not a big lift. It just takes a little bit of time, and the impact, I assure you, be massive. So how do you keep the connection with the employees? And the last point kind of on training is you need to give them something that attaches what you're talking about and the training and the concepts and the fact that you have a program to you and the company. So tchotchkes, awards, coffee mugs, something physical that they can have on their desk, that they can play with in their hand. Like I constantly moving around in my office and whatever. It's like I love whenever I get these little toys that I can mess with. Guys at Side Channel are always making fun of me because I'm playing with something branded internally with you, and now somebody's got a physical, tactile component that they can apply to. Oh, I got this from my training that I did on those topics. Reminder that the training exists, and plus people like free stuff. Make it useful. So it creates another sense that you can hit. Okay, you've done audio, you've done video, I don't know if there's a way to through scent to train people. Maybe you can just kind of like have pie in the background. That hey, when you're creating ambassadors, because now somebody go, hey, where'd you get that? And it's going to spark a conversation between them and that person about what that is, and that thing represents the existence of a security program. Wants that. The only way they can get one is if they just show up to the training. Small investment or tchotchkes or whatever. Maybe you go out, you go big, and you get coffee mugs branded with the security team or the message, or like the process or the email. When people see fish, they send it to something, some type of reinforcement there. That's huge. And you don't give those away because they're expensive, but you make a small investment. You got to have you can spend $500 on little things to help you give somebody something, right, that they're going to remember. It's going to be promotion for you. It's going to be marketing for the security team. It's easy stuff. I just gave everyone here like the rundown on how to build a security program. Hopefully someone goes and does this. I would love to hear feedback if anybody's watched this entire thing and they're going to do what I said. If you don't understand anything I just talked about, feel free to reach out. I happen to do this as a day job, building these things for organizations that want to actually do this. That's the important piece. Not everybody wants to do training. They see it as a waste. And I can almost assure you that those are the companies that are going to get popped or have issues. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is a fun LinkedIn and YouTube live. Comment down below if you've got anything. You're going to see this on replay on LinkedIn and cut up and shown on YouTube probably later this week. LinkedIn will be immediate. But please, drop a comment down below. What do you think? What are you doing to get training out into your organization? How are you, finding things? What's effective? What's not? I'd love to hear any feedback from anyone on this. Did I get it right? Is anybody doing what I'm doing? And they're like, yep, I see that. That's how we do it. It's amazing. Or nope, it doesn't work, and this is why. Look, I think we're only all going to make any of this all better if we work together, because everyone needs a lot of help. There's a lot of folks that need a lot of help. So hopefully if you're watching this and you see any of this that is useful to you or to your company or your friend's company or your peers, whatever it is, drop a comment down below. Love to hear your thoughts. Rewatch this. It'll be back up on LinkedIn Live as soon as the broadcast is over. I'm Brian Haugli with CISO Life, still on the road, mobile edition. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow or later, but I will be on Clubhouse. You can find me at Brian Haugli, or search for hashtag CISO. You can find me in whatever room I'm in. I don't know where I'll be, but I'll be someplace. Be safe, be good. I'll talk to y'all later. Take care. How am I gonna let you actually get out of this? Restream, you're killing me.